The bird was released at 6:40 a.m. They should be here in the afternoon sometime, hopefully. Time is 8:26. The birds should be here in the afternoon, 1 o'clock, somewhere around there. This is the all-in-one. Treats for coccidiosis, canker, worms, and respiratory. This is what I use to treat the birds before flying. This is all-in-one. This stuff works pretty good. And the birds, they fly pretty good after this. Something you might want to try for yourselves if you're having problems with the birds not flying. This is not having any satellite communication for some reason, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to communication, we're going to put save, and then device reset. Time is 12:41 right now, and there aren't any birds yet. This is 6 hours into the race. They liberated the birds at 6:40 a.m. our time, and it's 12:40 right now, so it's 6 hours. They could be here any minute, so we're gonna be waiting. That's a little young bird on the landing board walking around. It's 1:24, almost 7 hours now, nothing back yet. This is just our little frizzle bird sitting on the landing board. I opened this up to allow some fresh air and just to get a little bit more view of clearing. But this is what we're working on when they get back. This is for them to fatten them up so they can replenish their body fat as soon as they get back. Okay, since the birds ain't back yet, we're just gonna have a little bit of pigeon talk real quick. One of the hardest part about racing these areas is that we're in high elevation, and for when the birds are flying from, they're in lower elevation, and the birds are gonna have to fly up in elevation. We're at like 6,000 plus elevation. This city is at 6,000 plus elevation, and so it's gonna, and then because of such a high elevation, there's always wind in these areas, and there are variable winds. There are winds coming from the north, winds coming from the south, winds coming from the east, from the west, all over the place. And so the pigeons, in order to fly well, they have to be very strong, very healthy. They gotta have a good brain. They gotta have a good pedigree. I mean, like they gotta come from like a good line of birds that are good at flying in the wind. It's not easy. I mean, everybody has good birds, but even the best of birds will struggle in these courses, because these courses is not just a simple flight through a straight valley. You know, these courses have strong winds from all angles, from all sides, and the birds have to fly very, very smart in order to complete the courses and not get too tired. I mean, there are some birds that are very, very fast and fly very high and do really, really well, but there are some birds, but most birds, you know, they will struggle with these headwinds and side winds and whatever else. So if anybody thinks that it's easy to fly this course, then they should come fly this course. But yeah, it's not easy. It's 7 o'clock, and so far nobody has clocked any birds on the app yet. I don't know about the other combine cities, if they have any, if they had any birds clock in yet. Their club members doesn't show up on the apps, so we don't know for sure. But as far as we know, some people's clocks might not even be updated or connected to the GPS or satellite because they live in areas that don't have strong internet. But for us here, the ones who have internet, I haven't seen any birds clocked in yet, and this is going on 7 hours. But we're expecting the birds any minute, any minute. 8 hours now. Time for a quick lunch break. This is what I'm going to be eating for my lunch, a hot bun. I might as well have communion here and wait on the birds. It's going to be like, they should be here any minute now, hopefully. The thing is, they probably landed. See, they took so long that even my little frizzle bird went back inside. So, well, let's eat. Thank you, Lord, for our food in Jesus' name. Amen. For those of you who don't know, this is what a hot bun is made of. Yeah, it's got like bread on the outside and some good stuff on the inside, some meat and whatever else. This stuff is good for you. You can get this at your Asian stores, maybe your Walmarts and stuff, or your supermarkets. They usually come in a frozen packet and you just gotta heat it up in microwave or whatever, or steam it. Yep, food on the go, ready to eat. Guys, all right, guys, it's time for me to floss my good loser shirt. Since none of our pigeons are back yet, I believe my pigeons have found a beach to hang out at. So I'm gonna wear my shirt. See, all the other pigeons are still flying. And my pigeons are hanging out at the beaches, just like this. Taking their sweet old time. Yeah, this shirt helps you be, you know, be in good cheer if you're not winning. If your birds are coming home late, well, yep, my birds are still relaxing at the beach, I guess. They forgot all about the race. They forgot all about the race now. And we are a little over 8 hours now. So here we are. We're all texting each other, and you know, we think the pigeons have found a beach somewhere. Look, they landed at a beach somewhere, and they're drinking and sipping on their sippy cups and having their chit chats before they come home. We hope they go home before night comes. But this is just to let you know, my pigeons ain't slow. They're just they're just smart. They're just taking a sweet time. All right. We're going on almost 10 hours. All right, guys, we're going on almost 10 hours. Almost 10 hours, nothing back yet. Nothing on the apps. The club and combine has not got any birds back yet. Right now, any bird that gets back home is probably a winner. Any bird at all. Any bird anywhere. But so far, I believe there's nothing yet. Nothing confirmed yet, so we're still waiting. I just took a drive about 10 miles out of town just to see how bad the clouds and wildfire smoke is. And you see this atmosphere, a lot of it is clouds, and I believe there is some wildfire smoke because you can see a kind of haze and stuff. But yeah, there isn't a whole lot of the mountain ranges. Yeah, we're not seeing a whole lot of the mountain ranges from it's not too bad from like 15 miles out. It's not too far. I mean, it's not too bad of it. You can still kind of see the mountains, but the visibility isn't all that great. But it doesn't matter. The birds should have gotten home by now. We don't know what happened. They might have flown a little bit too far north, following a tailwind. And so now they're gonna have to fly back down from the north, I believe, because at the release site on the app, it says there was a a south wind going north at about like 8 miles an hour or something like that. So that could be a factor. We're not for sure. 8 miles per hour is something that the birds can fly without any problems, without too much problems. But yeah, they will usually fly a little slower if there's any headwinds or side winds, but it shouldn't be this low though. So all we can think of now is that they're not flying a straight line of flight home, and they're probably flying up north or down south, and now they're gonna have to try to reroute their way back home. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they get home before dark. But as of now, any bird that clocks in the next hour or any minute is probably a combine winner. So yeah, this is racing, and racing is very, you know, different on different days. There are good days and there are slow days. And yeah, depending on the weather or the climate or the area that you're racing in, it could be, you know, not so easy. But you gotta have really good birds and smart birds with good homing instincts. And as of right now, I think everybody's birds don't have the greatest instincts as of right now, because all the birds are late, and nobody has clocked in any birds yet, and it's already going on 10 hours. We're all basically losers, guys. Everybody is a loser today, whether you win the combine race or not. We're all still losers because nobody's birds came in nobody's birds got back in a timely manner. So we're all probably losers, but no hard feelings, guys. No hard feelings. Anyways, all right, fingers crossed. Hopefully anybody's birds gets back soon, so we have a sign of life, a sign of the birds, you know, willpower to get home. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say for now, but this is the 10th hour. All right, guys, this is the 10th hour. There aren't any winds. The sky is pretty calm, just a little bit cloudy, probably a little smoky haze, but nothing yet. All right, solid 10 hours. So no matter what, we're all pretty much losers because none of the birds got back in time. So I'm just gonna let my birds loft fly. These are the young birds and the breeders. I get in a little bit of food just earlier, but now I'm just gonna let them out to loft fly and whatever else. And if the other birds show up, I wouldn't know the difference because I only have a few dark checks. That's one of them. And when the other dark chicks show up, I'll call all the birds in together. Yeah, I don't have any birds back yet, so I'm just loft flying my young birds. Maybe they might stir up the sky. Maybe they might twinkle an eye. Maybe they might alert the other birds in the air. Yeah, so it's just the way it is. They're flying way up there today though. So maybe they'll attract my birds to come back home today. Maybe they might just fly out far enough to attract my birds to get home. Yep. So those are my young birds. These are some of my breeders. Here's the dark red, American recessive red that appeared out of nowhere from one of the hatchlings. And my birds are flying way up there today though. That's a good sign of good health. That's a good sign. And I didn't have to flag them or nothing. All this time, sorry for the broken screen on this old phone. dropped this phone one too many times, but here we go. We got 2 birds in our club here. First bird, Hidalgo Matos. Right before the 5 o'clock time. The second bird is Jose Acosta Marin. Yeah, that's the difference in the time. So the birds are rolling in now. Wow. So this, even though the second bird clocked in first, the mileage difference is calculated, and the bird with the farther distance, 263 miles, took first place at 753 yards per minute. And the second bird was 34 minutes behind on taking first place. But so far, only 2 birds got in the whole combine and club, I believe. Congratulations, guys. At 54, and only 4 birds so far. Wow, what a day. Congratulations, top 4 birds so far. And we're still hoping that our birds will return home quickly. We've given up on the race, but we haven't given up hope that our birds will return. Yeah, it's the stray bird. It's a small beak, tiny bird. Very thin, very tiny bird. Very small beak. That's a stray bird. Not a racer, just a B-roll stray bird. But you keep on getting me all excited for a second. Alright guys, it's almost 12 hours. Wow. I mean, we didn't get no birds back yet. And so far, only 4 birds on the app. Possibly the entire combine. A lot of birds probably flown north, like usual. Most birds will fly north because there's always a south wind in these areas that carries the birds north. But yeah, I think this is all for tonight, guys. This was almost a smashed race. Only 4 birds got back. Kind of a headache, but yeah, it's what we go through sometimes. That's why it's important to have good birds. And it's also important to make sure that you know, you have good training and the birds are healthy. I know for a fact that my birds are pretty healthy, but the toughest part is that you know, when your birds don't learn to break away or to fly on their own, they might have followed other birds into far distances where they know nothing of. And yep, and that's what you call mistakes. So it happens, you know, in every hobby, in every sport, there are mistakes. But you know, I think that the birds will come back home tomorrow. At least one of them will, I think. You know, they should be back home way early on, but you know, we don't know what the heck happened. There's not a whole lot of wind out there. So all right guys, that's probably the end of our day. We didn't have any birds come back today, and there's a huge bird of prey over there. Oh, but all right, that's all for today, guys. So far, only 4 birds on the clock. Nothing else. I don't know if Pueblo City's got any birds, but as for us, this is our day. We only had 2 birds in the race, and we didn't get any back. So we'll see if they get home tomorrow, or possibly later on, even at nighttime. Because I've had birds come in after dark and just clocked in if I leave the light on. So I wanted to say good night from Colorado. It wasn't a winning day for us. It was a very tough day. And I hope you guys learned from our lesson. It ain't easy with a small flock. You know what I'm saying? Very tough day. Yep. And then 7:04 right now. We ain't got nothing arrived yet. Yep, our birds ain't back yet. So just have a good night. From our loft, Shangai's loft. This is the real struggle. I believe that many birds will fly home tomorrow. Most have probably flown north, because from release site there was a south wind blowing north. And the thing about birds is that if they're flying a course that they haven't flown before, they will most likely take the easier way home. They're the less stressful way home, which is taking a tailwind, and that most likely will fly them north. And yeah, it happens. We take losses sometimes, but good birds will usually get home. And so far, from the last time I checked, there's only 4 birds, and they were none of ours. So the moon is shining over the trees, and birds ain't back. That's one whole day of waiting, but it's all good. It happens. We don't know what happened out there, but it happens. But yeah, there's that large bird of prey over there. I think that's a giant great horned owl. But good night, guys. It's 9 o'clock the next morning. I just barely woke up, and this bird was sitting here the whole time. This is the next day, second day of the race. I don't know if the other bird came back yet. I didn't check the app yet. That's number 09. I can see the orange leg band. Come on. Let's go. Okay, there they go. Looks like, okay, they're both back the next day. So that's number 09 when I just came in, and that's number 10. And number 10 scanned in first. So number 10 clocked in at 8 o'clock this morning, and number 09 just clocked in right now. Okay, 9 o'clock an hour later. I don't know how long this bird's been out here. I didn't wake up early this morning to wait for them, but I had a feeling if they're gonna get back, they will get back. So it happens. We don't know what happened out there, but it happens. Alright, you guys, this is number 10. I just wanted to show you the condition of the bird after it got back. The club almost had a smash race yesterday, but I'm glad at least like over a dozen birds are coming back. But can you zoom in right here? If you look at this, the bird has thinned out quite a bit. You know, they burn their body fat as they're flying. But if you look right here, all the feathers, they all have like this like wet, icky feeling. And if you look at the feet, there's mud on it. All right, see that? You see the leg band? There's mud on it. That means that the birds has stopped and walked around. Look at this. There's mud on there. Okay, we don't have mud at our house, so that means out there along the line somewhere, these birds, they walked around for a while, enough to splash around plenty of mud on their feet and on the bottoms and on the tail feathers. So the birds probably found a place, and they hung around for quite a bit before they came home. So that's what I wanted to point out to you guys. You know, water is very important. They will stop along the way to get water if they get thirsty, and you can see the evidence on their feet once they return home. There's mud all over their feet. Look, you see the. Okay, so that just tells you that the birds, they do know how to get water. They will land for water whenever they get whenever they need water. So now that they've drunk some water out there, they're probably gonna want to deworm them and to kill off any parasites. Not the very first day. The very first day that they get back, just give them fresh water, and then starting the second day or so, you know, for 2 days in a row, you want to probably give them some garlic. It'll help fight off some parasites in their gut and bacteria, and give them some probiotics in their food and stuff like apple cider vinegar, and it'll help them out. But yeah, this is bird number 10, first bird that clocked in on the second day for us. You know, as of right now, like we were texting everybody in the club yesterday. We were joking around. We were saying that at this time it was like at the 10th hour, and there wasn't any birds that clocked in yet, and we were like joking around saying, at this hour, everybody's a loser because nobody's bird came back in the 6 hours expected time, 5 to 6 hour expected time. All birds came home late, so there really isn't any weather. But yeah, there's nothing to be proud about. The only thing we're happy about is that our birds got home. All right, and this is number 09. Okay, I can see that the bird has some nasty poop on its tail feathers, and on the bottom of it, looks like the bird has contracted some kind of sickness now. This happens when the birds land around strays. When they had good poop, nice poop all week long, and then they didn't come home. This happens when the birds join strays. You know, this one probably landed too close with a bunch of those strays. There's a little bit of mud on the leg bands as well. Yep, you see this mud? So there's some mud on here as well. That means that the bird drank some, either the bird contracted some, it looks like it could be coccidiosis now. But if you look at the breast meat of the birds that return late after a race, you see that? They're kind of darkish purple. It's still a little bit on the pink side, but it was kind of darkish purple earlier. So, you know, that just tells you that they probably had, you know, some kind of, probably too much protein or something. But you know, but they did thin out. They did burn off their fat. There's still this one's still a little bit on the fatter side, but they got home. That's all that matters. Yeah, and then. Yeah, but this indicates that the bird had contracted something, so I have to quarantine this one. You see that? The icky poop. It could be due to drinking mud water, muddy, dirty water out there in the farmlands as they're flying home. So that happens, guys. This is number 09. All right, guys, it's almost 10 o'clock and only 19 birds on the app so far. 14th and 18th. All right, guys, this is 11:37 of the second day. Seems like on this app here, we have gotten 9th place and 19th place. And so far, 31 birds has clocked in. Yeah, but yep, that was one of the toughest days so far for a lot of the birds. You know, but eventually more birds will come flying in. I believe the wildfire smoke in the atmosphere had something to do with the birds getting home, but and a little bit of that wind, but yep. That's the results for now, and we're going to be turning in our clocks in a little bit here, so thanks for tuning in. Guys, but this is what I like it to do. After the birds get home, I like to leave them plenty of fresh water like that so they can bathe and relax and not stress. After a hard day of flying, it's always good to give them a bath so they can dust themselves off and clean themselves off and feel good about themselves. So what I do is I just leave the water on like this, like very, very tiny drip. That way the water constantly changes itself out. As they get dust and it overflows, it gets all the feather dust off and out, and so the water stays fresh. I'll leave this like this for like an hour for them, or 30 minutes or so. Give them a chance to relax and bathe throughout the day, and that way they can feel welcome, welcome home. Yeah. But this helps them get plenty of fresh water for the meantime. And then I will have to go back and remedicate them, reworm them, and all that stuff with garlic and other natural remedies. You know, this is just what I do. And an update, that's the silver or indigo or red bar that that had broke his leg, but now he's healed up and he walks just fine. Same thing with the other blue check bird that had injured himself, but yeah. It happens, guys. Good times and bad times happen in the sport and hobby, and we're thankful for the good times, and we sometimes cry. You know, we sometimes feel kind of bad or sad, but yeah. But for the next 2 days and 3 days, we're just gonna relax the birds. We're gonna fatten them back up, give them all the food they want to eat, and relax them, and then just let them loft fly or whatever else. But after a hard 250 miles race like this, you want to just relax your birds. Next year we're gonna have we're gonna come out with a bigger team, maybe 20 or 30 birds or 40 birds to start out with. That way we can interchange, you know, maybe 10 birds or 15 birds at a time, and we don't have to race all of them at once. You know, we're gonna race like 15 birds at a time, that way, or 20 birds at a time. That way, you know, the birds get to have 2 weeks of relax during these harder races. That way they don't have to overwork themselves or feel like they need to prove anything, you know, week after week, you know. So club racing is a little different. That's why, you know, it's called club racing. That way you could use your own methods and treatments and skill levels and whatever else to handle your own birds, you know. If you feel that your birds have flown too hard or had too much time flying in the previous week, you can relax them. You don't need to race them in the farther week. But as for ourselves, see, there's number 10. As for ourselves, you know, that one, look, that one is doing him a favor, trying to break that leg band chip off his leg. Yes. All right. Okay, but yep. Next week is only 150 miles. We bring the birds back to 150 miles. And that should be an easy week, hopefully. Easy day. And then the following week after that is the final race, the 350. So, yeah, man, what a tough and scary race. We thought we were out for good of this entire season. But I'm glad our 2 birds came back home. We're going to relax them all week and probably just go for a 30-mile toss on Thursday, and that's it. That's all we're going to be doing this week. So, all right, guys.